We're going to get to the moment that you guys have been waiting for, well, probably for the past, how long is it? Like 40, 45 minutes, whatever. All right, so we're going to talk about the latest film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is Ant-Man. It's directed by Peyton Reed. It stars Paul Rudd, Michael Douglas and it's always great to see him again. Evangeline Tilly, Lily Tilly, I'm not sure. Yeah, Evangeline Lilly, right? Evangeline Lilly, my bad. And a couple of other cameos and surprises as well too, which I won't get into as yet. So yeah, this is the latest film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The previous film being Avengers: Age of Ultron, which I enjoyed, but it was a step down from the first Avengers film from 2012. Reasons being, is that I don't know, there was just an overinflux of characters and just story arcs, and just stuff, a lot of stuff just going on, and there wasn't really like a proper focus in terms of, okay, what is this story about? And the villain, I find, Ultron, yes, he was voiced very well by James Spader, but I felt that his character, even though he is a machine or artificial intelligence, could have been fleshed out a lot better. And his motivation and just his whole, why am I going to destroy humanity? Why am I going to destroy the world plan was just really too far-fetched and a little ridiculous. But it was a great popcorn movie. It's not like the best movie of the year, but it was a great popcorn movie for what it was. And I am glad to say that Ant-Man, while it's not as large scale or over the top or spectacular as Age of Ultron, is pure, solid summer popcorn entertainment. From the sort of rough beginning, which I will get into, and I know Ricardo has some thoughts on it as well. From the rough beginning to the satisfying end, this is a solid summer movie. The history behind it is pretty interesting. Originally, Edgar Wright and his writing partner, Joe Cornish, they always had it in mind that they wanted to make an Ant-Man trailer. So they wrote Treatment, I think it was back in the early 2000s. And they pitched it to Marvel Studios, and they liked the idea. They felt they understood where they were coming from. Producer Kevin Feige liked where they were coming from and sort of like kept it there for the time being. And then in the next couple of years, as soon as the cinematic universe of Marvel started to evolve with Iron Man and stuff, and it began to get really popular, they eventually greenlit Ant-Man. In the San Diego Comic-Con, I believe it was 2010, they announced that, yes, there was going to be an Ant-Man trailer. Sorry, not an Ant-Man trailer, sorry, an Ant-Man movie. And in the 2012 one, if I'm not mistaken, there was a bit of test footage which basically showed Ant-Man, the character of Ant-Man, taking down two guards right in front of this elevator door. And this little side note, they also recreated that scene in the film, and it looks very good. But the test footage, for what it was, looked pretty decent as well. The issue being with the production in that is that Edgar Wright, who wanted to direct the film, of course, he did not want his Ant-Man film to tie in with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He didn't want it to have anything to do with Avengers or Iron Man or Hulk or anything like that. He just wanted it to be a standalone Marvel film. But of course, the higher-ups in Marvel didn't want that because of the success of the Marvel films, more particularly the Avengers. They wanted to tie in Ant-Man. And I mean, it was a pretty good idea at the time, but, Edgar was really adamant about keeping this thing standalone. And long story short, there was some creative differences involved, and Edgar Wright more or less left the project. But I'm really glad, by the way, I'm really, really glad that his name showed up in the credits, especially with the screenplay and executive producer credits, if I'm not mistaken. Edgar Wright's name is there. So yes, his vision is there, for better or for worse, in this Ant-Man film. It really would have been good in retrospect to see how Edgar Wright would have done this film. I felt it would have been a lot more polished. The editing would have been a lot better. The jokes a lot snappier. The story a lot more convincing. A lot more meat into it. I won't dwell into all the details as yet. I want to put you on to Ricardo first to talk about it. So yeah, let me just put you on to him, and when he's done, I will share my thoughts on the film.
Yeah, I really, really like this film, actually. Not the best of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, frankly, but I consider it about the same as Iron Man 3. Now, Iron Man 3 was a real contentious film amongst the fans, simply because of mostly because of what they did with the Mandarin. That stunt they pulled with the whole Mandarin thing, and that was a big letdown for a lot of people. But I really liked Iron Man 3. It was a very funny film. It was very good, great action, and for the most part, it really worked. It really felt like a lot like Iron Man 3, in my opinion. It felt like that in terms of tone. You could say that the film too heavily relied on humor, but for this, because the humor was so good, I didn't care. I'm entertained. They make it work. A lot of the jokes worked well. A lot of great timing with the humor, and then the action. Action was pretty damn good in this. They really got the Ant-Man special effect well done. The thing at it is that, again, much like as Matthew was saying with Age of Ultron, the Disney higher-ups really messed up with this one. This could have been a much better film, a greater film if Edgar Wright was in charge. Again, we always you say you'll never know if you never know. But I really think it would have been better. Much like in Age of Ultron, if they didn't interfere with a lot of the writing and the editing with respect to what Joss Whedon wanted, we would have gotten a different edit. But, what played out. However, I really, really thoroughly enjoyed the film. Why this film really shined in several ways is that good characterization. I'll say the big weakness of the film was the villain. He wasn't fleshed out fully enough. The actor, I think, is Corey Stoll, I believe. Yeah, Corey Stoll. He played the role quite well in terms of you got a sense of him being a complete sociopath, right? He was scary in that sense. He had this off-putting feel to him. Like little lines in the movie, like something like the girl asked him, he was going to do an experiment on a sheep, a little baby lamb, right? This really cute baby lamb. And then Hope Van Dyne's character, played by Evangeline Lilly, she asked him, aren't we gonna use mice as test subjects? And he basically said, what's the difference? Little casual sociopathy he had. He was very, very violent. He was very cold and calculating in terms of who he killed. Like, there's this early sequence where he murdered a guy. And it's really disturbing, actually, how they do it. It's like, whoa, that's how the guy dies? Wow. Really unceremonious. Yeah, really unceremonious, quick death, really, really brutal. So he was a good villain in that sense. But what they should have done, they had a cold open sequence with Haley Atwell's character and Howard Stark with the original Ant-Man himself. Hank Pym, played by by Douglas. And right, by the way, that special effect is very, very well done. Yeah, really, really brilliant. It's one of the best versions of that special effect I've ever seen. You got some close-up shots of it.
It really looked like how he looked like in the 80s.
Yeah, he's really young since the time of Wall Street, the original Wall Street film. Greed is good. Anyway, there's a opening scene with him falling out with more or less falling out with Shield, and you get to see the opening sequence with the Triskelion being built for the first time in the late 80s. And you see that building in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. That's the building that's destroyed in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. That's being built in the beginning. So it's just that opening sequence, and they want to militarize his technology, and he's just pissed off. They should have showed Corey Stoll in that sequence, in my opinion, to fix that. Show him with Pym, and him kind of falling out with Pym, and like that aspect of him leaving the company. They don't do that. Right, exactly. So they just had him come in and was like, "Hi, I'm your assistant." It's like, well, at no point I got the sense of that being set up. Why even shoot that scene if you're not going to set up him as the villain as well? And that's a little issues with that. Side characters, Michael Pena, really great side character. They set him up as this punching guy because he seemed to have the greatest superpower in the movie. This one knockout punch ability he seemed to have. But yeah, he was pretty entertaining. He had these really funny little flashback sequences telling a story, like a quick narration montage they keep doing, which was very, very funny and very well done. He did two in the movie. It's a big highlight of the movie. They had some great little cameos and little shout-outs. Gareth Morris gets a cameo. If anybody knows why Gareth Morris is related to Ant-Man, it's a really, really obscure reference. I thought it was really funny. They did it. Stan Lee, of course, makes his cameo. Nice short little cameo, playing the bartender. Awesome. It's really fast, but it's really well done. They made little jokes like Tales to Astonish. Anyone knows what that reference is? Great reference. It's the original comic with Ant-Man in it. And I picked up that. It's a little nerd stuff. Great little nerd stuff for the geeks like me. I'm not a big Ant-Man fan, but I was like, oh yeah, I knew this. They make mention of Janet Van Dyne, which is Hope Van Dyne's mother, Hank Pym's wife. They make reference to this. They do. Yeah, she plays the Wasp, the original Wasp, and they allude to this in the film. And then the movie has two post-credit sequences. One mid-credit sequence and then a final true post-credit sequence. Right? Not going to spoil it. Right? It's really awesome. They'll link it one time. I totally recommend you stay and wait for it. I know by now it's par for the course to wait for your post credits and if you're care enough to find out what's going on after your Marvel films. So you do it. But this film was thoroughly entertaining. It was really, really well done, very well told, very well played, and I really, really like the action. And sorry about that. Yeah, we're in the wrong place right now. And I really, really liked this film. It was very entertaining. I really was entertained by it. Very well told, very well played. And yeah, Matthew, what else did you think about it? I was thoroughly entertained. It was very, very funny. We went with some friends, 3 other friends of ours. Hopefully they will make little guest stars of the show in the future. So Matthew, just fill them in on what else you thought about the movie, what it is we should talk about with this film, and why we should recommend this film, and then I'm going to give them a rating after your release.
All right. I'm gonna just give you a little bit of info on the synopsis of the film itself. All right. So basically, the film is centered on the first two Ant-Man characters from the Marvel Comics universe, which the first being Hank Pym, which is played by Michael Douglas, and I was also impressed by how they showed the younger version of Michael Douglas, a more sort of late 80s, early 90s. Basic Instinct, Disclosure kind of looking Michael Douglas, as opposed to the much older but still a great actor Michael Douglas that you see in this film. And that's the first character, Hank Pym. The second character is Scott Lang, which is played by Paul Rudd. Everyone likes Paul Rudd. He stars in great comedies, more particularly romantic comedies. And I thought he was an excellent lead as Scott Lang. Here he plays I won't really call him a career thief, but he is a thief. He breaks into rich people's homes and steals stuff. And he gets out of jail. He wants to reconcile with his daughter, but apparently his wife has long, separated from him and gone to live with somebody else, and the daughter is under his custody now. And he's given this job by his 3 friends. I can't remember the third guy, but the first 2 guys being Michael Pena, who was an excellent comedic addition to the film. He brought a lot of humor to it. T.I., who was more controlled, he didn't have that much lines, but when he said it wasn't really for comedic effect. It was just like kind of like what the hell is going on, blah blah blah. And he has that sort of ATL that Atlanta accent going on with him, so he was fine. But I find that personally he should have utilized his character a lot more. That's just my opinion on it. So anyway, these 3 guys, I really forget who the last guy is. Not like he didn't have anything to do. He did have a great deal to do in the film, but I just can't remember his name. I can't remember his real name and whatnot. So they tell Scott about a job where he has to break into a particular rich guy's home to steal some money from a vault. So he does the job, he sneaks in, and then he realizes that, wait, something's up with this plan. Something's not right. And then when he breaks into this rather old, rather archaic safe, he finds the Ant-Man suit. And then he puts it on, and then he tries it out, and then suddenly he's like, microscopic size. And I have to agree with Ricardo as well, too. I loved the way how the film's special effects really, how the VFX was utilized in the film. And I would strongly recommend you see it in 3D too, because once he turns small, you literally feel yourself in this world. You really feel like everything around you is gigantic, and you really get that nice little depth of field. And how they did is that they blur the images in front of him, so this little microscopic human being in this suit is the only thing you see in focus. And when he's running around, whether he's in there's one scene where he's in a bathtub, an empty bathtub. There's a next scene where he's running with a bunch of ants. Like literally, there's a device that Hank creates where Scott used to actually control ants by will. And at first, it's a really ridiculous kind of premise. It's really kind of ludicrous premise, but once you see it come off, it looks really, really decent. So anyway, the plan is that Hank really wanted Scott to steal his suit, and then Hank and his daughter runs, more or less encounter him. They run into each other, and Hank lets him know what his suit is about and the history behind it. And the plot really is for Scott to break into the bad guy's scientific complex. Guy's name is what is his name again? Darren Cross. Darren Cross. Sorry. Right. So Darren Cross. He has a similar suit, which he calls a yellow jacket. It's much more menacing, much more evil looking than the Ant-Man suit. And he actually wants to use that yellow jacket outfit as well as a serum that can cause objects to shrink down to microscopic size, similar to a formula that Hank created back in the days that he used for his costume when he used it to do jobs and whatnot. He plans to use it for military warfare, to more or less to use in battles to gain the upper hand, to defeat the enemy, really by sneaking in and just using that suit and that serum to just do damage. So the plot in a nutshell really is, as Hank describes it, that he wants Scott to just really break in and steal some shit, which in this case is the yellow jacket outfit. And what I like is that the premise of the film, while ridiculous, what I like is how it sort of sets itself up as being a heist film. There's the flashback scenes that Ricardo mentioned. They're all done in this sort of heist film kind of style, where it's really like this one guy told another guy about this place where there's these jewels or this money or this vault, and he tells, and this other guy told this other guy that you sneak in here, you break in, you do whatever. And it's all this kind of like setup that you've seen in films like Ocean's 11 or The Italian Job, and the humor really matches those kind of films, because those films always have like a sense of humor to them. And I also like the humor that this film brought as well too. Also too, like I mentioned before, Ant-Man just didn't set out itself to be this sort of big budget extravaganza that Age of Ultron was. It was a small budget. Well, I don't think it was like that small of a budget, but it was just really a small scale film. It's just really, in a nutshell, a thief gets a suit that turns him small, and he has to do this heist. He has to go in, use that power to sneak in, steal another costume, and the guy who with that costume is aware of it. And then yes, there's this whole throwdown between the two of them. They shrink and they increase in size and they fight each other, and it looks great. That fight scene was very well done, but I do have to agree with Ricardo with the fact that the villain could have been more fleshed out. At first, when I saw him, reminded me of Jeff Bridges' character from Iron Man, Obadiah Stane. But what made Obadiah Stane a great villain is that he came off at first as this father figure. Like at first, you like, even if you knew from the trailers that he was a villain, that he eventually would become a villain, he wasn't set up that way. He was that guy that Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr.'s character relied on. And then over time you saw how, greed and just obsession with power made that transition of his character from that father figure to, hey, now I have this giant Hulk-like suit, I'm going to use that to kill you, and I'm going to make more suits like that and become rich and powerful. You saw that transition and it worked. In this case, it's like, okay, I'm working for this company. I want your serum. You didn't give me that serum. Okay, I'm going to make my own, and now I'm going to sell it to Hydra. Spoil it. And yeah, I'm going to use this now to destroy the world. I'm gonna shrink lambs down to microscopic size, and I'm evil. Mwahaha, And to me, I just felt that he could have gotten a lot more backstory, a bit more character depth, some more motivation, instead of, okay, I just want to be powerful off of a serum that turns shit small. He was charismatic as an actor, but I just find, and yes, the sociopathic stuff worked, but I just felt that personally he could have been more fleshed out. As I mentioned before, the setup, the first 10 minutes or so of the film was a bit rocky, because at first it starts off like, yes, this is a superhero film, it's in the Marvel Universe, and then you get this whole, all right, I'm out of jail now, I'm trying to get I'm trying to live this normal life, I'm trying to reconcile with my daughter, it's not working out, and hey, here's this heist, here's this job I can do, and if I make enough money, then I can make my daughter happy. And then it's like later on, probably like 15-20 minutes into the film, but trust me, it's not boring at all, it's very entertaining, but just, the build-up is rather slow, I must admit. and then eventually it's okay. Right now we see the students like okay, now we see where the film is coming from. So I felt if they just had sort of hit those notes a lot sooner, then it would have been it would have been a better start, a better act one for the film. But for what it's worth, it is a very entertaining film. It's a very fun film. It's a very funny film. I mean, there are action scenes. They're great to look at. They're not explosive. They're not like in your face, shoot 'em up explosions, all that Michael Bay shit. Like like Avengers: Age of Ultron was. But the way how they utilize depth of field and how they utilize Ant-Man's still unique powers of being able to turn small and big at will, was very well done. Definitely worth checking out. My rating for me, I will give it a 4 out of 5. At first, it was going to be a 3.5, but then I gave it some more thought, and I thought about just the troubled history behind it and how they managed to rise above that and just deliver a solid, entertaining film. Especially the fact that they took a character, a very obscure character that people, is either they don't really care about it, they don't really care about the character, they don't know much about the character, but they took that character, they got a great actor to play the character, they got an excellent performance from Michael Douglas. I'm glad to see him in the game, and I hope to see a sequel with him or more movies with him in the future. I mean, I'm not the biggest Michael Douglas fan, but hey, I'm glad that he's back on the big screen. The villain needed some work, the story, the narrative structure of the story, I should say, needed a bit more work. But for what worth, it was a very, very fun time in the movies. And for me, I give it a 4 out of 5. Not definitely see this movie. A 4 out of 5, see this movie as soon as you can. I strongly recommend you see it in 3D. I strongly recommend you see it as soon as possible. So I'm going to put you on to Ricardo. He's going to give you his rating and his final thoughts on the film.
Yeah, so as I said, pretty much agree with Matthew here. This film I thought was very entertaining, very well done. Not one of the best Marvel films, but it was up there. It was pretty well done. It was its own project. And there were a lot of fans of this film. A lot of people really enjoyed this film. I'm one of them. As I said, you could tell that it was Edward Wright's vision that really was fulfilled fully. And, but as I say, you don't know how things will play out either way. So I'm just glad we got a great product and a great final thing. It had some great little cameos, as I said. It's a nice cameo from one of the Avengers. You'll enjoy it. It's very, very fun. A very, very fun fight and action sequence. And yeah, I'll ultimately say this one, I give it about, as I say, 8 out of 10. My new rating system I'm trying to try out is I'll give it a movie tongue. So go see it in movie tongue. Don't see it in IMAX, but see it in movie tongue. It's not worth an IMAX, not worth that much, but it's worth a movie tongue. Go see it. I really enjoyed this myself. And yeah, we could just head out with respect to this. I just have one more. Yeah, no. So just quick final thoughts from myself about this film. I really, really enjoyed that. It was a nice little small film. It was very, very well told and well paced, and I had a lot of fun with this one. Should we see future Marvel endeavors, this is officially the end of the Marvel Phase 2 of the films. And with Phase 3, which the post-credit scenes will show off, we'll start to see the ramp up with next film coming up, which is Captain America Civil War, which I'm very excited to see. So just a last thing from this film, I really recommend this film. Go see it. Totally recommend it. And final thoughts from Matthew, and then we'll just wrap up.
Right, so I forgot to mention the few cameos, the few surprises. Well, Ricardo more or less spoiled some of those. Being a particular Avenger. I'm not going to say who he or she is, but yes, there is a very entertaining, a very fun scene with that character. I also like how they tied in this new Ant-Man character into the not just the cinematic universe of Marvel, but the Avengers universe as well too. It wasn't shoehorned. I was worried that it was going to be that they were just going to try and sneak it in just for the hell of it, but it actually works. It actually fit with the overall premise and the overall story of the film. That was a very clever move. I have to reiterate. I really would have loved to see Edgar Wright's vision. I think it would have worked better as a standalone film, but as a Avengers tie-in, it was pretty damn solid. And yeah, like I said before, 4 out of 5. See this movie, see it as soon as you can. See it in 3D. I don't know how it looks in 2D. Doubt I'm going to see it in 2D, but definitely see it as soon as you can. Bring your friends, bring your family along, and you'll have fun.
All right, so that wraps up our review for Ant-Man. It was a very, very good review. Excellent movie. So, just to wrap up with this show, next time, what's the new movie coming up? The next film we're coming up is Rogue Nation. We'll definitely go see that when it comes out. This summer is not bad at all. I actually enjoyed a lot of the movies this summer. We'll also be talking about some smaller films, try to get into some smaller films that are going to come out this year. Films like Dope or movies like Straight Outta Compton. We want to see some smaller films, hopefully. Hopefully another film I would like to see also is Me, Earl and the Dying Girl. Ewan McGregor has a great film called Last Days of the Desert. Really want to see that film. Those small films. And then we'll try to have little sections dedicated to smaller films that we saw this year. A film I really enjoyed earlier this year was Ex Machina. We will do a review of that coming up to lead into Star Wars because it's also starring the star of Ex Machina, who's also starring Oscar Isaac. Right? And Oscar Isaac is also doing the X-Men Apocalypse playing Apocalypse in the new X-Men film. So, Matthew, where can we contact you? Just leading out to the show, where can we contact you?
Alright, if you'd like to read my previous reviews, my previous movies and music reviews, you could check out legallyBlack.wordpress.com, or if you like, you could just look up for the official fan page of that blog. Just type in Legally Black blog official fan page and you should see it there. If you would like to find me on Twitter, just type in my name, Matthew Bailey. I'm there. And if you have any comments on this podcast, feel free to drop one or two. If you have any comments on the film, on Ant-Man, please share your thoughts. Along with Justice League, Gods and Monsters, if you've gotten around to seeing it, if you liked it or you didn't like it, share your thoughts. Same thing goes for Comic-Con. What do you think about the Suicide Squad trailer? What do you think about the Batman v Superman trailer? What do you think about the panels? What do you think about Kevin Smith? What do you think about that Apocalypse outfit that Oscar Isaac has on? If you think he looks bored in that picture, I find he personally looks really bored and out of place in it. I rate him as an actor, but he just looks really like out of place in that. I'm sorry. That's just my thoughts on it. But yeah, feel free to share your thoughts on it. And yeah, until the next one.
Yeah, don't forget this. You could also contact me. We could also contact me at rmeddy, that's RMEDDY, on Twitter. And you could contact me on Facebook. Just type in Ricardo Medina on Facebook. He is the 333rd most important Ricardo Medina you can find. The thing is, this film was pretty good. We could wrap up right now. And just remember that Baskin-Robbins finds out everything.